If you recognize this outfit, it's because I'm filming like 4 videos this morning and I don't really feel like doing the whole sweater change. Hey guys, welcome back. We are here to talk about the worst books I've read of 2023. Unfortunately, this video is probably longer than the best books of 2023. We'll see. For the most part, I didn't have like super terrible books. I was really good about DNFing books I was not enjoying. It was mostly just so many books I just didn't care one way or the other about. Everything was like a 3-star. 3 stars for me is just like, it was a decent book. I read it till the end, but I don't feel like it's going to stick with me in any way. So first I'm going to share the books I had higher expectations for, and they just let me down. First we have Little Fires Everywhere. The cats are literally running in circles around the house, chasing each other. Oh, that's right. What this book was about, are about these different moms, and they're at different periods and stages of motherhood. As a mom who stays home, living that suburban lifestyle, whatever, I was like, oh, this sounds great. But I felt that this book really pushed a lot of more political agendas, or maybe not even political agendas, just a lot of opinions were just being shoved at me. It was so forceful and I just was really put off by it. At 78% of the way through, I had made a note about the court scene. Okay, so I'm not going to go into too many details. about what this is about, but at some point they go to court because of there's like an adoption that's like gone sour. So they're at court, and I said, I didn't like how they were trying to poke holes in her ability to care for the baby because she didn't buy Chinese dolls for her. I had so many issues with this. She's an infant. It'll be years before she's even ready to play with dolls. They follow up the search for Chinese dolls, that they are incredibly expensive. I'm thinking that this family is rich and far more financially stable than the biological mom. So will the biological mom be able to even purchase these dolls for the baby? And is this what we're saying it takes to be a good mom? I feel that this was a good conversation, but not in this scene. It felt like the author really wanted to have this conversation and really just kind of forced it in the wrong place. I feel like if she really wanted to talk on these specific topics, instead of making this entertaining novel, maybe she should just write essays. So as the adoptive mother breaks down and states that it's about who will love her and can care for her, there were more characters going through other issues all around and about motherhood, teen pregnancy, acceptance, abortion, cultural issues, immigrant issues, adoptive issues, identity, race, and I could continuously go on. I'm still kind of on the fence of whether or not I like these topic-centered books that try to take every single issue around an umbrella issue and make it fit into one book. I could see trying to like put these issues together and compare them, but I feel like these are such complex issues, it just doesn't necessarily work. At least it doesn't work for me. But at the very end of the day, I feel like any of these situations, you cannot just put them into a little box or a little bubble, because as I was saying, they're so complex, as family dynamics are different, social dynamics, humans, individuals, and our own individual ideologies about the world. It's not even about what the world thinks and puts people in. It's what each individual person thinks about these topics too, which are, you really can only highlight a small portion of it when you do this. It oversimplifies some of these topics, I feel like. It also makes it feel too forced and too convenient that these characters are all dealing with the same kind of stuff. That's probably a really unfair gripe, because obviously the author had a goal in mind, and so she made all of her characters fit that to that goal. But maybe I'm just not that kind of reader, and I like something that's more natural. And then to continue on with what I was writing, it feels like I said that the purpose of the story is a politically motivated one instead. For example, the court scene was so hyper-focused on one aspect of what being a good mother is. Oh, The issues of raising a baby that is not the same race, and completely neglecting the most obvious issues of meeting most basic needs of the child. This was completely lost. This is what really lost a lot of credibility for me on this entire book, because as I said, it completely focuses on the fact that the baby and the adoptive parents are a different race. It has nothing to do with, are they financially stable? Can they provide a safe home? Are there good schools? All of those things that it really means to be a mom. Are the parents mentally stable? Even in the very best circumstances, if the parents are batshit crazy, you're gonna fuck up your kids. Baby, you can't get into stuff. This next category are for books that I feel are overhyped. The first one is Babel by R.F. Kuang. At first, I thought this book was for me. I was gonna love it as much as everyone else because it was dark academia, it was a fantasy, and it utilized the use of like language in magic or something, and I thought it was such a cool concept. But I really did not like this book. I know that there's a lot more to this book than what I ended up getting out of it, and it's probably compounded with the timing of this book. It kind of felt like an excuse to stir up hate against a certain group of people. Its setting takes place in the 1800s, so I guess it's to be expected. So the setting really takes place in the 1800s, but there are some other things that felt misplaced in the setting because they're much more modern concepts. I felt that the magic was really lame. It amounted to getting a rock to glow by saying some fully pretentious words over it. This book is categorized as dark academia, which is what drew me to it to begin with. The only good thing about it was the concept of Babel and understanding the language and how it all entangled together. I also like the various languages thrown in there, but in retrospect, it's kind of like a dictionary vomited all over it. The next book I didn't have such visceral feelings about. It is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. So this book was just really weird, and it's really difficult to kind of even explain what it's about. You're just in this girl's head as she's wandering around these different rooms, and these rooms are really awkward and weird. Like there's like a water room, and there's these statues that like move, and little things keep happening, and like little things keep moving, and she keeps going to talk to this other person, and it's definitely eerie, and it's really quirky. And I think the best part about it was the ending. My experience with this book is that I wanted to know what the hype was about and know what everyone was talking about. I also wanted to add another dark academia book to my reading list. But for the most part, I was just completely confused the entire time, but I continued on through this book, waiting for it to unravel, trusting it to unravel its magic and wow me. It was also dark and unsettling, which I did kind of like that. And then the truth came out, and I found that such a surprise, and it was interesting, and I was like, okay, I get it. But then it started having to like explain itself, and I guess you could consider it info dumping. I felt for the most part just eager to finish this book the whole time. I just wanted to finish it. Ultimately, I also felt that it was anticlimactic. I think the length was okay, but it probably could have been shorter. The next one is A Far Wilder Magic. This book actually took me so long to get through. I had it on ebook on my phone and considered DNFing it, but then I kept reading because it did have these like very kind of whimsical atmosphere to it. And it was way it had a lot of flowery descriptions, which I think that kept kind of bogging me down. I almost wonder if the pacing wasn't off, because you'd have something interesting happen, then you're like, okay, I'm gonna keep reading. But then you get to a point where it would slow down a lot. I feel like one character got a lot more attention than our other character, and they were kind of supposed to be a duo, and I felt like that was maybe off for me. I did end up liking the complexity of the characters. One of our characters has a very complex relationship with her mother, and then the other character has a very warm and welcoming family and gets along great with them and is really kind of struggling through life, and I kind of could relate to him a little bit because he keeps attempting these things that just are not panning out. And so he's really desperate at this point to make something stick, make something work, because he needs to take care of his family. And I did really like that, but I also think that by the end of the book, like, he goes through some interesting changes. Also, his family is just really fun and realistic, and I just love that family dynamic. But you don't really get that until like 3/4 of the way through the book. I did feel that the love story was kind of lame, maybe a little overpowering. That's the word that I used in my Goodreads review, was that it was overpowering. It was kind of basic and kind of cringy, and I did not really like it. So that is that. And I'm actually reading another book by this author. It's a NetGalley read. It's called Drowning Tides. And I'm having kind of the same experience. Like, it's just, there's obviously something I like about it, and I like about the writing style, and it's like soft. I don't know how to explain it. It's like soft and whimsical. I'm having a hard time like wanting to pick up the book. I'm having a hard time remembering kind of like what I had read up to this point. And maybe it's just a little too slow burn for me, at least right now. These next books are books that I feel were just the wrong time for me, and I think that if I had read them maybe pre-Twilight era or around that era, then maybe it would be a much different experience for me. But I'm basically saying I outgrew these books, and I don't really have a whole lot to say about them. There was House of Furies by Madeline Rue. I do have something to say about this one. I feel like her books are so much more gothic and beautiful and supernatural, but then when you're actually reading the book, they just don't live up to the aesthetic, I guess. The next one is Of Poseidon, and these are supposed to be like mermaid stories, I think, and I don't even know what it was. I think I want to say the main character's voice was just like, this is not going to work for me. It's just so annoying. And then Wicked Lovely. This is another series I was holding on to for so long, and I really wanted to love them, and they really let me down. I could not get into them. The next one is The Wife by Meg Wolitzer, and this is a very short story. It is about a man and a woman, a husband and wife, who've been married a gajillion years, and they're both authors. And the only thing I remember about this book is that the wife just kept complaining that she put everything on the line for her husband so that he could be an author, and she didn't get to live her dreams of being an author, and he's getting all these accolades and she's not. And it just was so annoying. It was that like, if either your husband is terrible and doesn't give you that opportunity, that's your fault for not being like, look here, mister, I'm doing this, and you need to handle your own stuff because I need to handle mine. Or she's the one that allowed time to pass, and she did not, again, she didn't take care of this herself. That's only something she could do herself, and now she just wants to complain about it and put it all on her husband. And like, she chose to completely support him and let her career fall by the wayside, and that's nobody's fault but her own. And I just felt like that was so annoying to just hear her complaining, and she just sounded so hateful to me, and so that was that. The next one was Gemina, which is the second book in the Illuminae files, and I loved the first one, and I got to the second one and I just felt that it was boring. It was very repetitive. We have this romance now going on, which I don't care about. I don't know. I just did not like it. And now I don't know how the hell I'm going to read Obsidian. Yeah. And the award for the very worst book ever of this entire year was A Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway. And I really did not enjoy this book. I don't understand how he is considered like one of the best American writers. Like, if he's the best American writer, we got problems as Americans. It's tragic. I did a full rant video on this book. It was just boring. It was so boring. I feel that the very best part of the book was the prologue, which was not even an entire page long. It was beautiful. It was full of symbolism and everything, but then we get into it and it's like, just, I felt that it was a mess. It felt like he was writing this book while he was drinking. Catherine was such an insufferable character. They both were. They had nothing. They had horrible dialogue. And it was so repetitive, and just everything about it was just so grating. This should be on books that I DNF, because I did not finish this book. I literally could not finish this book. But it also goes as the worst book. So, anyways, I hope that you enjoyed my little rant. It was nice to get it off my chest. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Sorry for all the noise. The cat is climbing in the blinds, trying to look out the windows. In the living room, I keep the blinds up so the cats can sit in the window and look, but no, he's got to see through that window right there. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.